Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Racing with Ryan podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Stevens. Got a quick show for you here today. Hope everybody enjoyed their 4th of July holiday. Definitely a busy weekend for us, but a good weekend. Nothing crazy, just a good time with good people and good friends. And we all kept our digits, thank goodness, and got plenty of time in the pool, plenty of R&R throughout the busyness of the holiday weekend. So, unfortunately, not much short track racing to talk about. So, this is going to be a NASCAR heavy show, but I did want to have a little bit of fun because Showtime Speedway did run this weekend, and they rely so heavily on AI that I want to ask AI what happened this weekend at Showtime. If I can type. And now it's frozen up. Here we go. Ah, my goodness. This is what I get for trying to do something on the fly. What happened at Showtime Speedway this weekend? Let's see what the AI bot says, shall we? I couldn't find any published race recap or official results from Showtime Speedway for this past weekend. The track's website and publicly indexed sources currently show the upcoming schedule, but not a weekend's results report or feature winners. If you meant last Saturday's regular race program, I can dig into feature races won by class, full orders, official results may only be posted on the track's social media that have not been indexed yet. So, they rely so heavily on using AI for their promotions and all of that. And it's really, really bad, by the way. And listen, New Smyrna uses it too, and I hate it. It looks terrible most of the time. I get, I won't name him. You all know who he is. He's just trying to get stuff up on the fly. He told me coming in that's what he uses. I'm not big on it. I don't particularly use it very much. But Showtime just uses AI for everything. So I thought it'd be funny to ask AI if it had anything. So let me see. Do you know the feature winners from the July 4th, 2026 racing program? Sorry, I'm not good at this. Program. Let's see what it says. Searching the web. Yes, I've been able to confirm one of the feature winners, but I haven't found a complete official results sheet for the July 4th, 2026 program. Crown Vic Oval feature. Tyler Landis won a feature. A race video posted after the event is titled Tyler Landis Crown Vic Oval feature win. I couldn't independently verify the winners of other divisions, blah, 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 blah. So, Showtime will use their AI to advertise to you, but they will not use it or put out enough information to tell you what's going on. But hey, just to be fair, right? Who won the last late model race at New Smyrna Speedway? And not to pick on Showtime Speedway, but hey, they were the only people racing. And let's see. The most recent late model race at New Smyrna Speedway was the June 20th, 2026 Summerfest Pro Late Model 60. The June 27th program did not include the Hoosier Pro Late models, and the next Pro Late Model race is scheduled for July 11th. Hey, look at that. I wasn't able to verify the winner of the June 20th Pro Late Model 60 from publicly available results. The track's schedule confirms the event took place, but it doesn't publish the finishing order. Well, that's not true. That's not true. Please check the website as the winner is listed. And you want to know why I can say that? Because I know it's up there. You're right. The results, oh, look at this. You're right. The results are on the New Smyrna Speedway website. I was looking at the schedule page rather than the event results. Interesting. But it's all wrong. The most recent Hoosier Pro Late Model feature at New Smyrna Speedway was won by Brad May in the 50-lap feature. Brad started 5th and drove to a win ahead of Colt Hensley and Ricky Moxley. That's far from the truth. Oh, boy. See, this is why this right here is why I do not rely solely on AI. I know people use it for a variety of things, and I use it as well. I've used it logos and things like that, or I asked it the other day to analyze a song because I wanted to see what it thought its interpretation was of a very weird song. But I like to kind of ask myself questions and figure things out, and it's just funny. I was picking on Showtime a little bit because their use of AI and trying to use AI to figure out how the results obviously is not a reliable source of finding out information from things, especially in the racing world, because it only knows so much, and it only knows, and AI is only as smart as what it's been programmed to find, and it's only as good as the information that it's able to find, which is why it can be tricky to use. So thank you for joining in and listening to our social experiment here this weekend. I am going to be fair. I'm going to see if I can look up Showtime Speedway on Facebook here and just see if it has anything listed. I'm surprised I'm not banned from there. I've been calling them out for their exclusive AI use lately because I'm not a big fan of it. But real quick, while I pull this up, thank you to our sponsors keeping us going. Of course, that would be Paramount Medical Billing, F&F Racing, Duo Lawn and Tree, the Splish and Splash Swim program, and Ken Copley, who we miss dearly in the EMOD division. Hopefully, we'll see him back soon. So, scrolling down, and thank you to all of our listeners, too. Scrolling down their Facebook, a lot of stuff about their banquet, which is finally happening, which is just kind of silly. There's the Tyler Landis win. They've updated their cover photo with Tyler Landis. Absolutely no race results on their Facebook page. So, and just to also confirm, I will go to New Smyrna Speedway's website. Come on, load up. I will go over to New Smyrna's website here, and we will see that the results for the last Pro Late Model race are in fact listed. It's going to take me a minute to get to the top of the page here. Here we go. Schedule results. It's funny, the AI was saying it was looking at the schedule page, but the schedule page inherently holds the results. So it's just funny to kind of do a live experiment and see what it can and can't do on the fly, right? Now, obviously, if you ask it better prompts and you coach it, from what I hear, it kind of gets smarter. But if I click the results of the Summerfest Pro Late Model 60, which the AI was able to recognize was an event that happened, if you scroll down the page, boom, there you go. Palmer Haig, the winner over Brad May and Cole Anderson. So anyways, just a fun little experiment, and it'll segue me into the little bit of local stuff that I want to talk about here before we cover the NASCAR stuff and just give you guys some content, as we do have the Shark Bite Pro Late Model 60 coming up here this weekend at New Smyrna, along with the Sportsman 25, EMOD 25, 602 Modifieds going for 25, and the Bomber Bees. We'll go 20 laps here this weekend, and it's looking like it should be a good program. A lot of tracks taking this time of year off, so we got a little break from some of the great competition out there. So we might get a few extra names to tag onto the field and try their luck on the high banks that normally wouldn't get a chance to do so. As of this recording, I do have 10 Pro Lates that I know of, and I'm hoping for maybe a field of 13, 14, 15 cars, on the higher end. So it should be a good time. Let me see if I can name them. Of course, we got Brad May. We got Nick Snyder, Logan Mizuraka. Allie Owens is making a return, which is pretty exciting, and she's got some big sponsor backing and some fun things that'll be going on throughout the program. Let's see. We got Eugene Tuminello. We have, I feel like I'm going to need to go look at the points because I'm running out of names here, and I'm running out of brain bandwidth. Let's see. Who else did I put up? Palmer Haig will be there, of course. There's everybody that's out there. I've released already on the Facebook page that is pre-registered. So we might get a few more before the deadline for the giveaways. So stay tuned. If we do get more, I will update that accordingly. But at least 10. Stephen Reddit, can't forget him. He's always there. Just trying to think if there's any other surprise. Cody Brunson's going to be there. Yeah, we're piecing it all together without having to look at a list. So because I don't have a list, I didn't write a list down. So, anyways, definitely looking forward to getting back out there to New Smyrna this weekend to have a little bit of fun. But with the off weekend, that meant pretty much NASCAR focused, and NASCAR returned to the Chicagoland Speedway for the first time since 2019, right? So before COVID kind of knocked the track off the NASCAR schedule, and they came back to the market with the Chicago Street Race, which, as peculiar an idea at the time as that was, I felt like the races were good. The events were hampered by weather more times than not, but I felt like the races were intriguing enough, and, SVG got his big win there, put himself on the map, then Alex Bowman got a win there, and last year, again, SVG getting the win. So the Chicago Street Course had its 3-year run, and then went back to the Oval. So I'm going to take some time and kind of debate the Oval versus the Street Course. Where should we be racing, if I can get that out? In my opinion, we should be at the Oval. I like the Chicago market. It means a lot more to me now than I ever thought it would. Definitely a special place to me now, even though I've never been there. But I enjoyed the race on Sunday at the Oval. The street course was interesting because it was kind of, the racing itself wasn't terrible, but it's not great. I mean, kind of what you watch the street course for is the strategy and who's going to hit something, because there's nowhere to go if you get offline. So we got a more pure race on the Oval. I know there's talks of maybe both of them next year, which I'd be okay with that. We got to replace San Diego with something, right? So you put the street course back in there hypothetically. Maybe we rotate. So one year we do the street course, one year we do the Oval. But in my opinion, the Oval race was a better race. It was a more pure race. I really enjoyed watching the event Sunday when I got a chance to get around to it. Stayed up late into the night to catch up on it after a busy Sunday and a busy week. And to say I sat there and thoroughly enjoyed it is the truth. So I enjoyed kind of the nuance and kind of some of the chaos that the street course brought. But honestly, I just feel like NASCAR needs to be on purpose-built short tracks and not just putting up walls around whatever section of a city block they can reserve. Because in my opinion, we need our racetracks that we already have to survive. And without big events and without good attendance and without, the marketing genius behind, having NASCAR behind some of that, we got to keep these tracks alive. We don't need tracks to close. We're not opening new tracks. I can tell you that. When's the next time a new actual purpose-built racetrack is going to be open? I think we're going to have to blow up the whole economy. We're going to have to blow up everything to get that back, right? We live in such a different time, and that land is so valuable for way different things, which is just an unfortunate reality of the time. So I'd like to see the tracks that we already have out there get the support and the love that they need. Millions of dollars go into putting up a street course, right? I'd like to see that millions of dollars invested into these great facilities that we already have built. Great on the Chicago crowd for coming out and selling the place out. That's what we need. Now, there's obviously, it hasn't happened in a while, so people are clamoring for it back. What's it going to look like 3-4 years down the road? I know that's kind of the mark we always kind of go to. It's look at the War on 44. Started great. Second edition, pretty good. This year's edition, pretty poor. It's like you get to the third year of it, and it's like, and it's apples to oranges, but there's something to that. You give things a chance and see how they work out. And in my opinion, I'd like to see the Chicagoland Oval be a permanent fixture on the schedule once a year, just once a year. We don't need 2 races here. Honestly, I wouldn't mind cutting Kansas back to 1 race a year. If that meant keeping Chicago on the schedule, if we had to go that route. I think, Kansas is fun. I really like Kansas. Las Vegas can go back to 1 race a year. That's kind of become the worst mile-and-a-half track at this point. So just kind of my thoughts on that debate. If we go back to the street course, I'm not going to whine about it. You may see me comment on various groups, hey, I wish we were on an actual racetrack this weekend. But I'm not going to hate it. I'm going to watch it. I can appreciate the fact that it is a cool spectacle, but I'd rather just see NASCAR races on real NASCAR tracks. So that's my take on all that. So let's get into the race weekend. We're going to do the normal thing where we talk about the NASCAR race. We look at the 16. We'll do the 12 this week too with the Xfinity Series in action. we'll see how their playoffs. We like to pop in and see how that's going every now and then as Xfinity and Cup both race this weekend. We'll start with the Xfinity Series. In that race, I watched the highlights on this one, so I just did not have time the weekend to fit in the full race. Pretty good race, some things happened. Some good racing, especially on the restarts. It looked like Chase Elliott was going to go out there in the Hendrick or Junior Motorsports All-Star car and whoop up on the field and had a chance at it, but late race restart and Brandon Jones would take a much-needed victory away from Chase Elliott and score one for the the O'Reilly Auto Parts regulars, which I always love to see. Nothing against Chase Elliott. I'm a Chase fan on Sundays, but man, I love to see the full-time O'Reilly guys go out there and get a big win over the Cup guys. I hate the Cup guys in the field to begin with, but I do like it when they are defeated. So good on the 20 of Brandon Jones picking up the win there. And then over to Sunday, we'll check the points here in a moment. Over to the action from Sunday at the Chicagoland Speedway. What a wild start. Let's just go through the race here, and then we'll look at the results. Lap 1, accident on the back straightaway. Ryan Preece gets turned around. Connor Zilich, again with nowhere to go, hits the wall, out for the day. He's done. Ryan Preece goes multiple laps down, getting towed in. And the damage was pretty much done to Preece. He would eventually get all of his laps back and finish on the lead lap, but unfortunately it would be a 32nd place effort. The damage that was done, it's amazing. If you bottom out in these cars and you damage the underside of the race car, it just shows how the aero is so important underneath the race car that if you damage that, you're in trouble. Now it makes a lot more sense. If you remember a few weeks ago, I questioned Denny Hamlin going to the back of the field after winning the pole. They really felt like fixing that aero damage would give them a better chance on Sunday, and it did. So kudos to them. Let's see. Another, of course, Racing Reference doesn't have the accidents listed here, so I'm just going to kind of have to piece them together. Another accident, this one between, I think it was Zane Smith and Carson Hocevar got together, and there's been some debate on whether that was intentional or not. I don't get a definitive view from the replays that we saw of intent. I think a lot of people could say they have a bullseye for Carson Hocevar, and any contact could look like it was retaliation. So both drivers would go on to finish the race, both on the lead lap. Hocevar 22nd and Smith 28th, so not a good points day for either of those guys. Then another incident. This one raised some eyebrows. This was the Austin Hill and Shane Van Gisbergen incident. Austin Hill's car would hit the wall a ton with the rear end of the car, basically making it a Chevrolet Pinto. And Austin Hill would retire. He'd finish 37th. Shane Van Gisbergen 25th on the day. Listen, both drivers very coy on the radio. SVG never admitted anything, and I think that's the key because no penalties were handed down, despite a little bit of history between the 97 and 33 at this point of the season. No penalties handed down. It just really makes me think that Ryan Preece got the short end of the stick. I feel like that was a bad call for his Texas penalty. He could use his points back to be fair. To be honest, I just think that whole thing was such a bad call. Not because I'm a Ryan Preece fan, but just because, man, these guys are out there racing. They're going to make contact. I don't know. It's funny how similar situations always get officiated differently given what day or what time of the week we're looking at. And so those were the big incidents on the day. Stage 1 would be won by William Byron, who showed good speed all day long. The final incident of the day occurred when Kyle Larson would spin out of he's running third or fourth, had a good car, led some laps, would spin out all by himself. When he went spinning, I was yelling, "Oh, hit something, hit something, hit something." And my girlfriend had fallen asleep, and my chanting kind of woke her up, and she said, "Oh, why do you want him to hit something?" I'm like, I just want him to be, out of contention for the race because I'm not a fan. And when I say stuff like that, I always preface, I don't want anyone to get hurt. I don't want things to go flying and things like that. I wanted his car to be uncompetitive for the rest of the day. And, well, I got my wish. He would spin. He didn't hit anything, but he'd spin into the grass. He'd have to get towed out and drive all the way around 1.5 miles on flat tires, really screwing up the underbody of his car. So today's race really proved how sensitive the underbody of this car is because Ryan Preece's day was pretty much done for a spin, and then Larson would be done competitively for his spin. He would actually finish a lap down in 34th. So a tough day for Larson. His up and down season continues. Final caution would come out when Tyler Reddick, the point leader, would have something go through the radiator and blow fluid all over the racetrack and all down the side of his car. So your point leader, who would eventually come back out, but he would finish 36th on the day. Well, I guess he's not the point leader anymore. Sorry, your second place guy. The guy who's been leading the points much this season, Tyler Reddick, with a 36th place abysmal finish after that. Then the last caution of the day was for the end of stage 2, which was once again won by William Byron. And then the final stage, we see this a lot. Sometimes I feel like if the first 2 stages are eventful, the third stage is usually pretty tame. And then if the first 2 stages are kind of mundane, then usually we get some action in the third stage. I will say the end of this race was very intriguing, but the action calmed down a little bit. And we saw William Byron in control for much of the race, and the final run came down to the last pit stop. Chase Briscoe would pit a lap earlier than William Byron, and he would actually zoom back around and inherit the lead, which he would not relinquish. William Byron, who was in control of much of the race, would actually finish 4th, and we got a hell of a battle with about 10 to go. It was clear that Christopher Bell and Denny Hamlin had pretty fast race cars as they were coming back up through, eating into Chase Briscoe's deficit. And Hamlin, with a handful of laps to go, he got loose up in one of the corners, may have impacted the wall. His chance to the win was done at that point. But Christopher Bell chased down Chase Briscoe. Inside of 10 laps to go, this really perked my interest. The final 10 laps of this, the chase was on, and it was fun to watch. Bell got to Briscoe with about 4 to go, and I thought, oh, for sure, he's going to go up there, and he's going to get the lead. He's going to win the race. But Chase Briscoe did an amazing job of playing defense. I do like how you can play defense with this car. If your car is good enough, you can aero block. I don't mind that. I love how different it is from Xfinity, where if you're that second place guy, you can get up underneath the leader, pack air on the back end, get the spoiler out of the air, and get them loose. Here, the guy in front is such a bigger advantage because of the dirty air. These cars love that clean air, and when you can block it just right and not allow second place guy to keep up momentum, you can really do some damage. And with that said, Chase Briscoe, who seems to be a master at the aero blocking, would get the victory for his first win of the season. And now, after spending much of the year right around 16th, 18th in points, he's now up inside the top 10, which, of course, we'll take a look at in a minute. But Briscoe picks up his first win of the season. This is a stat I like to look at. How many different winners do we have? And we've been averaging about 14 a year with the next-gen car. We're up to 10 now. And we have drivers like Bell, Byron, Wallace, hell, Kyle Larson, Joey Logano have not won races. That's 5 names right there where if they won, Logano may be a little bit of a surprise at this moment, but they're not names that would surprise you to be in contention for a NASCAR race is my point here. So still plenty of racing to go. We're not even at the chase yet. The summer stretch is going to be very interesting. With Atlanta coming up, that's an opportunity for a new driver to get their first win of the season or maybe even first of a career if the pushes go right and they play their cards right at the end of these races. Atlanta's going to be super exciting under the lights this Sunday night. I cannot wait. It is my daughter's birthday that day. I do have work in the morning with quarter midgets, so that might be a Monday morning endeavor for me. We'll see. But either way, I'm going to stay off social media and try to enjoy this Atlanta race when I can. But I'm just saying the door is wide open to get winner number 11 on the season. But Briscoe, your winner here at Chicago, which featured a record 28 lead changes, by the way. So a competitive race, a good race, fun finish, some controversy and some wrecks to sprinkle in there for the Carnage folks. And I think we all got a little bit of everything in this one. So Briscoe, your winner. Bell did settle for second. Then it was Denny Hamlin in third. So 1, 2, 3 for Joe Gibbs Racing. William Byron fourth, a great run for him, one of his best of the season. Alex Bowman finished fifth. I picked him in 36 for 36 just because he won the last Chicago race, and he didn't let me down, scoring a fifth-place finish. Bubba Wallace had good speed on the day, led 35 laps earlier in the day, finished sixth. Seventh was Ryan Blaney, eighth for Ty Gibbs, so all the Joe Gibbs cars in the top four. In the top 8. That's 4 cars in the top 8. Corey Heim for 23XI, ninth. And how about Riley Herbst rounding out the top 10? So all the 23XI and all the Joe Gibbs cars in the top 10, except for Tyler Reddick. They did have the 4th car this week, so Tyler Reddick got the short end of the stick there. So most of the 23XI cars. Reddick probably would have been in top 5, too. Notables: Chase Elliott 11th, Joey Logano 12th, Daniel Suarez 14th. He's still hanging around there. Ross Chastain 18th, so mid-pack day for him. Ty Dillon, a respectable 20th place finish. Carson Hocevar, we talked about him. He was 22nd. SVG 25th. No real surprises further down. We talked about Ryan Preece. He finished 32nd. Kyle Larson 34th after the spin. Reddick with the radiator issues was 36th. Connor Zilic finished last due to his lap 1 crash. So really it's been a rookie season from hell for Connor Zilic. And, with the issues for Tyler Reddick, you're going to pop over. We're going to stay on the NASCAR side of things here. We're going to take a look at the NASCAR Cup Series point standings. Top 16 make the playoffs, so this will be our segment of the 16 here, letting it load up here. Going into the weekend at Atlanta, which this could change big time after Atlanta. You know how chaotic those races can be. Denny Hamlin, still atop the point lead. I misspoke earlier. 44-point lead, his advantage. So Reddick's lead has gone from over 100 points to now 44 points back in the span of 8 weeks, 7 weeks. Reddick still very much in contention, but has to get the monkey off his back and get those, have the bad luck out of his way. Might as well have it now before you get to the chase. Ryan Blaney's 3rd in points. Ty Gibbs is 4th. No changes amongst the top 4. The first change is Chase Elliott, who moves back up into the 5th position. Kyle Larson's tough day moves him down to 6th. Chris Buescher is 7th. Chase Briscoe, mentioned him having a good points day, of course, with the win. Jumps up 3 spots, one of our biggest movers of the week. He's 8th. Carson Hocevar 9th. 10th for Christopher Bell. 2 spots down for Daniel Suarez. He's dropped outside of the top 10 now. He runs really well at Atlanta, so if he can stay out of trouble, he could vault back up perhaps in the top 10. William Byron, despite 2 stage wins this weekend, remains 12th in points. So no movement there for Willie B. He needed that win. Bubba Wallace remains 13th. Shane Van Gisbergen remains 14th. And here's where we see the changes around the bubble. Austin Cindric up 1 to 15th. And Eric Jones back up into the 16th and final chase spot by just 4 points now over Ryan Preece, who fell 2 spots with the early race trouble. And Joey Logano, don't look now. He's up to 18th in points. He is only 16 points out of 16th. And then he is tied with A.J. Allmendinger. And then just 3 points behind those guys, so about 20 points back or whatever, is Brad Keselowski, who's 20th in points. So that bubble from Brad Keselowski to Eric Jones for that 16th and final spot is going to be very intriguing, and I think Atlanta will definitely shake it up for somebody, and maybe have guys like Michael McDowell, Ross Chastain, Zane Smith, who runs well, Todd Gilliland, who runs well at these tracks, and maybe close the gap a little bit and get in the discussion here for the late summer push. But I still feel like from about 20th on down, 21st on down, your chances to make the chase at this point, unless you go on a rally, win a race or two, are pretty slim. So guys like McDowell, Chastain, Smith, Herbst, Gilliland, they've got to win a race, get those bonus points. They've got to run competitively all day and not have trouble, or else I believe it will haunt them. But I think Jones, Cindric, Van Gisbergen, 14th to 22nd, nobody is safe and could move up or down the ladder. I'm pretty confident to say, guys like Stenhouse, Nemechek, Dillon, Bowman, Gregson, Barry, Dillon, Custer, Zilic, they're not going to make the playoffs. Let's be real. So let's look at the 16. Let's look at the points after Chicago. Let's pop over to the Xfinity side. That's what I originally had pulled up here. Top 12 make the chase for the Xfinity Series after race 24. And, boy, we're getting close. We are at race 20 in the books for Xfinity. Only 4 races to go before they lock in their chase. So this weekend in Atlanta will matter a lot here for this division as well. Justin Allgaier with a 195-point lead over Jesse Love. Corey Day is 3rd. Sheldon Creed 4th. Austin Hill is 5th. Brandon Jones with the win in Chicagoland moves up 2 spots to 6th. So very respectable season for Jones. He's only 10 points out of 5th. Carson Kvapil down 1. Sammy Smith down 1. They're 7th and 8th respectively. Parker Retzlaff continues to have a good season. He holds on to 9th in the point standings. And then we have Sam Mayer 10th. Taylor Gray 11th. And the final spot right now belonging to Brent Cruz. And remember, he did not race 4 races. So he's at a 4-race deficit and hanging on to the final spot. And he is up right now considerably over William Sawalich, Raja Karuth, Ryan Sieg, Anthony Alfredo. So the battle there, it's not cemented in stone for Brent Cruz or, Taylor Gray, they're still going to have to go to work. But Williams, Wallace, Roger Carruth, they're going to have to do a lot of work as well to steal those final spots. So there's a quick look at the Xfinity point standings. And now over to the NASCAR Fantasy Live. Let's see how we did with the Race and Ryan podcast. Fantasy League, I had Kyle Larson in my roster. So, not the best week for me. But let's see if I can get all this to load up. Let's take a look and see Chicagoland Speedway. Who did well this week? Well, it wasn't me. John Gross, Bomber 93, former champion. Tied with 8 Ball Racing for the win this week with 253. Zach Dodge was third, fourth for Staffordshire Motorsports. Pit Penguin, fifth. Good run for him. We haven't seen much of him this year. Lost Highway Sim Racing was sixth. Bob's Ford, seventh. Eighth for 76 Motorsports. Yours truly, ninth with 197 points. Cole Trickle Jr. rounding out the top 10 this week. So congratulations to John Gross and I believe it's Eric Ripley, who got the win. Co-winners this week. And then look at the overall standings. Bob's Trackhouse, who had a tough week, still leading the point standings by a significant margin over Bob's Fords. 8 Ball Racing making a charge here up to third. Cole Trickle fourth. Zach Dodge fifth. Staffordshire Motorsports sixth in the standings. Yours truly, RKS Racing, that's me. I'm seventh in the standings. Eighth is 76 Motorsports. John Gross, despite the win, still ninth in points. And Richie Petty rounding out our top 10. And Pit Penguin, despite a good run, still last in points. Come on, Steven, get your act together. Obviously, fantasy advice this week, it's wide open. You're probably looking at your starts. There are some guys that you might want to play this week that maybe you have to shelve because you need them for some of these upcoming races. But, we got Daytona coming up. We have New Hampshire coming up. We have Iowa. We have North Wilkesboro all coming up here. So an interesting swath of tracks. No more mile and a half. So you may be able to shelve those guys and be okay with it. But this weekend you're going to want, maybe the Fords. They seem to draft well. Maybe, take a chance on Austin Cindric as a wild card or something like that. Of course, Bubba Wallace looked like he was going to win this race in the spring. Then Tyler Reddick came out of nowhere to win it. So maybe you go out with one of those guys. But I think it's wide open. It's going to come down who gets the last push. I think RFK could be decent. I think Chase Elliott could be decent. So he seems to run well here at Atlanta. I just think this race is going to be super fun. It's going to be slick. So, driver get out to a lead, but then somebody can get a push and actually be able to do something with it because there's separation between the cars. Should be a fun race at Atlanta. So I'm looking forward to that. Congratulations to our fantasy winners here this week. That's about all I got for you guys. Hope you enjoyed the little AI experiment at the top of the show. I just thought that'd be fun to do and, pick on some of this stuff a little bit. But, fun show. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back next weekend to recap the Shark Bite 60 for the Pro Late models at New Smyrna. We'll recap the weekend at Atlanta. Of course, we'll check in on the points because it's more important than ever now to get those points. We're closing in on the start of the chase for all the series. So, trucks are also in action this weekend, but they are at Lime Rock Park for some reason. We're going back there again. One of the most boring races of the season last year. The trucks go back there. O'Reilly, I know I keep calling him Xfinity. I'm a boomer, sorry. O'Reilly and Cup over at Atlanta. We'll recap all of that on next week's show as well. So thank you guys for listening. Thanks to our sponsor, Paramount Medical Billings, Splish and Splash Swim Program, the Do All Lawn and Tree, F&F Racing, and, of course, that other sponsor, Ken Copley. Ken, we need you back on track. I hope everything's going all right. If he's not racing this weekend, I'll reach out to him and see what's going on. I never want to pry. I like to give people their privacy, but Ken's a big supporter of ours, and we miss him out there. So that'll be the basis of my phone call if he's not here this weekend. So looking like a good Pro Late Model field. Should be a fun race to cover. Looking forward to getting back out there Saturday. Hope to see you guys out there. If not, get out there, support your local short track. Have a great weekend, everybody. And we'll see you at the races. We'll be back next weekend to recap it all. And with that said, take care and vroom on.